Let's go make a killing.
All right.
Welcome to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
10 to the 5 to the 4, play one, touchdown!
The sharpest football contest show in the land.
I'll take the action. My Birds, Benjamin Franklin's team, favored by 1.5 points. I'll give you 3 more.
You're now riding shotgun with 2 former contest winners in Brady Kannon and James Salinas. And getting a former player's perspective with 9-year NFL veteran Mike Pritchard.
Let's go!
As they guide you through strategy, process, and your contest picks each and every week of the season.
I do like the idea of a parlay.
Now here's your host, Brady Kannon.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Week 11 in the NFL. It's Episode 13, Season 2 of the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, presented by our friends at Circa Sports and the Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. I am Brady Kannon, along with Mike Pritchard and James Salinas. Let's take a look at what happened in Week 10. Yes, some more carnage in Survivor. The Bills and the Panthers, the likely suspects there that took a lot of people out. We are down to exactly 1,000 entries in Circa Survivor. We have to believe that a lot of people were on the Patriots on Thursday night. It was speculated that maybe 40% of the remaining entries moved on with the New England Patriots and their victory over the New York Jets. Only 8 entries left in the $5,000 Super Survivor and only 6 entries left in Circa Grandissimo. It is getting down to crunch time here, fellas. And it's interesting this week as well with some of the favorites. 70% of Circa Survivor has the Texans left. 70+% entries have the Ravens left. Of course, they will play on Thanksgiving. 23% only have the Packers available. They're on the road as a favorite against the Giants. 85% have the Steelers available. Will they go down that road and expect Aaron Rodgers to extract some revenge and get a win over the Cincinnati Bengals? We will see. The Super Contest and the Circa Million, the consensus did very well. 3-2 at the Westgate, 4-1 in Circa, but still only hitting at a 40% clip for the season. We did very well as well. A 4-1 mark in the Circa contest, a 3-2 mark in the Super Contest. We'll see if we can keep that rolling here in Week 11. Let's get right into it. We go to España, Madrid, Spain. And boy, what a treat for these fans. They're going to get to see the Commanders and the Dolphins. We'll kick off with that one, James. What a beauty. The Dolphins a favorite here.
Probably more of a treat for both teams just to get out of the country. Both seasons were lost. I mean, a tremendous play last week by the Miami Dolphins, upsetting their division rival with the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo definitely had some fun on South Beach on Saturday night. Looks like prior to that game, they were a complete no-show against the Dolphins. I don't know who's going to show up here. Both seasons are lost. Obviously, high expectations for Washington coming into this season, but so many injuries. We know where Jalen Daniels is again on the shelf. McLaurin not going to play again, top receiver. They're down to seeds and stems at the running back position. They're also missing their top 2 corners on the outside in this game for Washington. And then Deron Payne throwing punches, trying to find some fight in that defense. He's suspended this week, so a lot of players out versus who's in. I just don't know, Pritch, where their mindset is. I mean, it's one thing where teams continuously go back and forth to England, but bangers and mash and pints get a little stale after a while. You're going to go have some fun in Spain with a lot of paella dishes, great food down there. Who's going to show up in this game, Pritch? I have no clue.
Well, these are highly paid athletes and their jobs are on the line. So, I mean, they should show up. They better show up. But the distractions will be there. I think about my experience in Barcelona, Spain. We played the Raiders, but that was a preseason game. And so we did have our fun. I mean, yeah, Spain's different. That's a different animal than going to Germany or something like that. But no, Miami's interesting because they got a lot to prove. Obviously, you got a head coach trying to hold on to his job. You think about Quinn, it just fell apart for the Washington Commanders. Now, last year they were an outlier, though, right? And a lot of times when you're an outlier, the next year you kind of fall down to earth. Think about the Texans with C.J. Stroud and those guys. So I think it's part of course for Washington. I wonder if they can get it right, though. I wonder with Mariota and, the competitive nature of this game and, being so far away and trying to put on a good show, because not everybody's going to be watching. We know that. But you think about this game and this matchup. I think it's an even matchup. But too many variables that could happen, guys. I mean, I don't know if I can recommend this, Brady, for the contest, but from a betting standpoint, I mean, I me and my teasers, man. I mean, the Commanders look highly attractive, and you're right, James. There's a lot of guys out, but there's also a chance for a lot of guys to prove themselves, and certainly we're at that time of the year when you think about the National Football League.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I did bet the Commanders +3. I mean, the Miami Dolphins is a 3-point favorite. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now you have to eat 2.5 in the contest. I don't know if I want to do that. And James makes a great point that there are just a plethora of injuries for this Washington Commanders team. It's really hard to get there with this club, but I wouldn't be surprised if they show up here at all. I mean, it is still the Miami Dolphins, despite what they did to the Buffalo Bills last week. All right, the Green Bay Packers. Boy, just an absolutely anemic offensive performance on Sunday night, or was it Monday night? I can't remember, against the Philadelphia Eagles in that loss. Now they go on the road to the New York Giants, who will be starting Jameis Winston at quarterback. Brian Daboll is out as the head coach. James, this is another team that's decimated by injury in the New York Giants, and I don't know if I want to lay it with the Packers either.
I'm getting carpal tunnel just scrolling down the injury list for this Giants as we speak right now. And it is a long injury list of so many folks that are questionable. They list half the team as questionable right now. But as far as folks who did not practice this week, there's at least 10 on this board as far as starters go. And we already know all the other starters that are out. We know Jackson Dart is not going to play with the concussion. They're really unfortunate for him. I mean, so many draw plays and design run plays for him, and a tough-minded kid. But yeah, took a lot of hats in that game. And the other side here, oh man, where are we at with the Packers? This is a team playing well defensively, Pritch, but this is a team that can't put the ball in the end zone. You've got to try to score. They've got to lay 7 on the road. I think we'll see an inspired effort out of those that are remaining for the Giants in this game. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points are at a premium on this side. I can't take the Giants here, but I don't trust for the Packers to be able to score a whole lot of points in this matchup to be able to cover that big number on the road.
Yeah, no, great point, James. I mean, because I think the Packers, they have an identity crisis going on. They want to run a football, and that's what they did last year with Josh Jacobs, and they got to the playoffs, and they got on a roll that way, played solid defense, complimenting football. But I think the Packers found out, too, that they need Jordan Love to be spectacular, or at least make plays, right? And he's made some throws that make you scratch your head, and then he made some throws that, okay, that's the Jordan Love that they need. On the other side with the Giants, you mentioned so many injuries, right? And that's the team looking for direction themselves. And so to lean on the young guys, are they ready to lean on Jameis Winston? We know he is a turnover machine. So even trying to look at the Giants, and they're running the ball very, very well as of late. So I'm taking a look at that. But James, I'm going to take a page out of your book and maybe live play this game in game. But from a contest standpoint, yeah, this one, I can't get with the Giants yet, and I certainly can't lay it with the Packers.
Yeah, Mike, it'll be interesting to see how many people choose to use the Green Bay Packers in Circa Survivor. Only 20+% have that team available. Of course, they will be in action on the holidays. They are a 7-point favorite here, but a tough team to trust. And we don't know, are the Giants going to get that new coach bump, or are they just too decimated by injury for that to even make a difference? We will see. Next up, we stay in the state of New York. We go to Orchard Park. The Buffalo Bills, off of a loss, hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when we return right here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Want to gamble like the pros? At LasVegasAdvisor.com, you'll find the world's best how-to books, software, and strategy cards featuring blackjack, poker, video poker, and of course, sports betting, including the Stanford Wong Classic Sharp Sports Betting. Don't forget LVA's Member Rewards coupon book, offering discounts on dining and entertainment, including a buy one, get one for the awesome lobster buffet at the Palms, and more than $700 in gambling-free play, match play, and bonus offers. Up your gambling game today at LasVegasAdvisor.com.
Las Vegas isn't just a place to play, it's a great place to live. Louis Payon with Magenta Real Estate is a trusted 5-star real estate professional who's called Vegas home for over 3 decades. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Louis will guide you every step of the way with proven strategies that deliver results. Call Louis today at 702-849-7160. That's 702-849-7160. Louis Payon is the official realtor of the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Welcome back to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circus Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Brady Kannon, Mike Pritchard, and James Salinas with you. The Buffalo Bills off of a really tough loss in South Florida. We were correctly on the Dolphins catching all those points last week. They win that one outright. Really, Buffalo, I don't know if they have a chance to win the division. New England's starting to run away with it here. Do they bounce back here, Mike? It seems like a lot of points, but you also have a warm weather team going into some pretty stiff weather in Orchard Park this week.
Yeah, Buffalo is interesting. I mean, they're certainly different at home. Got ready for that Kansas City game. You highlighted that one. And then last week, we kind of anticipated that situation going down to South Florida against Miami. But now you got a cold weather team going back home, and certainly you got a warm weather team going up north. And I played up there, and every time we played up there, it seems like it was at night and in the month of November or December when it was going to be cold. And certainly they have that advantage now. Now Buffalo is not a very physical team. We know that, and they are limited in terms of what they can evolve to, especially now that they have injuries. Dalton Kincaid is out, I believe, once again. So. This game isn't going to be one of those typical games where you think, okay, Buffalo's might going to be run away with it. This is going to be a competitive game. I believe now Tampa on the other side making plays has been something that hasn't been something they can rely on, certainly in the fourth quarter. I think there's a lot of guys that are banged up on that team, obviously with the injuries, but they're playing through it. And it seems to show up on tape. And I don't think they can run the ball the way that they need to in this game, too, to kind of neutralize Buffalo. Buffalo, from a defensive standpoint, they kind of fit for what Tampa wants to do. And you got Bulls on the other side that's highly familiar with what Buffalo wants to do. And then without Kincaid, that gets dicey a little bit. But it's a tough number to lay. But I can't get to the Bucs, James. What are you thinking for this matchup?
I like the Bills. And we talked about the weather. It is going to snow and it's going to be really windy there. So it's going to be 15 to 20 mile an hour winds consistently, a lot of wind gusts too. And we know how that wind swirls up there. And when you're a team like Tampa, since they've lost Bucky Irving, dynamic running back, not only rushing the football, but a big playmaker out of the backfield receiving the ball, it's going to be a one-dimensional football team. We saw that last week. And I think Vrabel, I thought it was really a coaching mismatch during that game. I mean, Tampa was completely outclassed on both sides of the field. I know it was down in Tampa. They still had an opportunity to win and get a backdoor cover as a small favorite to the Bucs, but it's a one-dimensional football game with Baker Mayfield having to throw the ball. Now you're going to throw into the teeth of this wind against the Buffalo Bills team. That is now they've got their mind right. They were definitely hungover from that Kansas City Chiefs game. Then you go down, total medicinal game for them to go down to South Beach and enjoy themselves and get their mind right. Well, that's what they've had now this week off. I think we see a very focused Bills team that can run the football and be very physical at the line of scrimmage. I think this is the Bills over the course of 4 quarters. That weather starts to take its toll. That running game really starts to take a toll, Brady. I like the Bills here in the spot laying that number.
Speaking of hungover, do the Pittsburgh Steelers recover from that beating they took in Los Angeles last week? We thought the Steelers would show up and give Justin Herbert some fits with that pass rush and that lack of offensive line. Now with Joe Alt out for the season, not the case. Can they rebound here, trying to avenge a loss earlier in the season on Thursday night to these Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Flacco at the helm? Trey Hendrickson looks like he will be out across that defensive line for Cincinnati. It looks like a lot of points on the surface, James. I made the number 2.5. And then when I crunch all the stats, it comes to 5.5. I'm not so sure I know what to do with this one. Pittsburgh hosting Cincinnati, James.
Well, I think for Pittsburgh, not so much being hungover, they just look old. They look old as the quarter, and these games progress. They look older and older and slower through each quarter of these games. And I think that's what we saw. I don't think the defense was that bad last week. They got a lot of hits on Herbert. They got 5 sacks on Herbert. He was yelling and screaming at the officials for some of the shots he was taking. It's the offense. It's just anemic. Rodgers cannot throw the football down the field. There's not a rushing game for this team. So their rushing game is really, it's short passing game for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. And we know Flacco has competed well against Pittsburgh over the years. He's very familiar with that team with his time on the Ravens. He's never left that division for very long. So, and the window is open. So here's the thing with the Cincinnati Bengals, even though Burrow was lost in the first week of the season. The 21-day window, Pritch, just opened for Burrow. He's not playing, obviously, this Sunday. He's got a target date of Thanksgiving when they play on Thanksgiving night against the Baltimore Ravens. So that I think that gives a little life and a little hope to this Bengals squad, even though the defense has been terrible, to say, hey, this season is not lost. We've sustained and gotten through this season with Burrow being hurt, but there's an opportunity for him to come back. I think that's a little inspirational here. I kind of like the points here with the Bengals on the road against the Steelers.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Flacco does know Tomlin and that defense. And the thing about Pittsburgh, it's the same defense since the 70s. They just plug and play with different people, and they hope that their scheme can help them and keep the game close. But if you figure them out, then all of a sudden they're vanilla. And if they're a vanilla defense against Higgins and Chase, and the way that Joe Flacco is playing, Joe Flacco, they scored 42 points in a loss against Chicago. They scored 38 points in a loss against the Jets. And then they scored 33 points in that win against Pittsburgh. So, the last 3 games for Joe Flacco, they're averaging well over 30 points a game. And this is a guy that's not that familiar with that offense, but yet he's playing enough football to know what Pittsburgh is going to do to him, right? So I don't think Pittsburgh can outscore Cincinnati. Cincinnati's defense is really, really bad. So from a point standpoint, I love this situation. I love to get the points here in this matchup because I do believe Flacco does understand Pittsburgh and that defense and what they want to do from the looks and everything. And I do think that they could score. They got too much firepower on the outside, and there's so many stats to kind of back that up, Brady. So I'm liking the Bengals. I'm liking the point situation in this matchup from the division standpoint between these two teams.
Yeah, Cincinnati off of a bye too, so that could make a big difference for this team. Obviously, they have been struggling going into that bye. And good news with Joe Burrow on the mend, apparently, as you mentioned, James. Interesting contest here in AFC North Division game. We go to the AFC South next for another very interesting contest, another team off of a bye in the Tennessee Titans when we return right here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Want to enter the biggest and best football contests in Las Vegas? Look no further than footballcontest.com to get the info you need to succeed. Covering Circa Million, Circa Survivor, Grandissimo, and every super contest at the Westgate Superbook. Reserve the most trusted proxy service in the business now at footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have been leaders in the industry for 20 years. They submit your picks while you focus on picking winners. Experience matters. Go with the pros at footballcontest.com and start winning now.
So the Houston Texans come back in dramatic fashion to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 10. Davis Mills at the controls, and he will be there in replacing C.J. Stroud once again, who is still nursing a concussion, when they go on the road to Nashville to take on the Tennessee Titans, who are off of a bye. Now, the Tennessee Titans were shut out earlier this season, 26-0. By these same Houston Texans, looking to avenge that loss. Of course, Mike McCoy, the new coach in Tennessee. James, we've seen this line move in the direction of the of the Tennessee Titans. It was 7 to open, and now I've seen as low as 5.5. And I have to believe, just from a value standpoint, people are going to land on the Tennessee Titans here in both contests, where the number is 6.5.
If you have the stomach to pull the trigger and do that, it all depends, I think, on, and we're talking about contest theory, depends on where you're sitting in this contest too. So if you're in a place like for where we're at, where we've got to try to make some moves that are kind of off, whether it's contrarian or just kind of lower tiered teams that folks aren't picking, that's one consideration. But if you're near the top of the leaderboard, do you want to take the Titans here and trust? You take the points for sure at the 6.5, but are you wanting to take a team that was shut out by this team that's a few weeks ago? That's a different story. That's a different mindset. This is what happens when you start to, now you get into the second half of the season as a contest leader. And I remember when I won the contest in 2015, there's about 2,000 people in it. And after week 6, I'm ahead. I look at the top of the standings and like, damn, I am at the top of 2,000 people here. Man, I still got 12 more weeks to go. And so you start to second guess. You start to think about that, not just finding your plays, but what everybody else is doing behind you. So from that contest standpoint, That's a tricky situation. I think for us, I don't want to take the Texans here. I think this is a huge comeback win. I think they were down 19 points and more so a collapse by Jacksonville, Pritch, in that game. And we've really seen a regression for this team since beating Kansas City a month ago on Monday Night Football. But this is a team right now with the Texans, maybe kind of, again, I know everybody shows up to play. This is their job, but sometimes we half-ass it through our jobs and whatever job and industry you're in. You're always giving 100% effort at your jobs. No one's listening from where I work, so I can say that right now. But I just know that from this standpoint here, just the mindset, I feel like from a team that's already throttled a bad team here in Tennessee earlier in the season, and you have the Buffalo Bills on deck next week to the Houston Texans. I don't know, this feels like, even though it's a divisional game, it is on the road, it's a sandwich spot. I understand why that number is going to Titans. I like them here. I'd take the points as well.
You know what? A lot of people like the Texans just because of that defense. And nothing about the offense screams that, okay, I want to be with the Texans and I want to lay it that way. But now Autry, though, did not participate and then he's limited, which means limited means that you're just going to go through walkthrough. So he's not going to be 100%. Nobody's at 100%. I get that. But he's going to be hobbled and he's an older player in this game. And I think that might be why people might be gravitating towards the Titans a little bit. Dalton Schultz as well, a key player on offense, is not going to be available. So you got a team in Houston that has not been consistent really with executing. But then you look at the Titans on the other side. I kind of want to throw away McCoy because I don't think he's really relevant at this point. It's just another situation where they're going to need a head coach. And I've been in that situation where, there's only a limited number of jobs out there, right, in the National Football League. You don't want to stink up the joint because this might be your best opportunity to have a job in the league playing for the Titans. So, I mean, I think that, bye week or not, and certainly just trying to get focused and just trying to execute better. The Titans have a chance in this matchup, I believe, to kind of get the job done that way.
All right, Mike, back to your former team, the Atlanta Falcons. We have mentioned it before. We cannot figure this team out. The Carolina Panthers, we successfully went against them last week in their outright loss to the New Orleans Saints. I like the Panthers here this week, catching 3 and a hook. Who are the Falcons to be laying more than a field goal here? By the way, an interesting note on this game as well, James. The Falcons coming off of a great effort in London in a loss to the Colts, but no time off here. Maybe a little jet lag for the Dirty Birds.
Well, and it's not a team that's very good against the run. We saw that last week with Taylor just running all over them, and that's what the Panthers' strength is. They have to get there and run the football. Dowdell being the feature back, I like him. He's that kind of guy that initiates contact through 4 quarters and starts to wear defenses down. I kind of do too, Pritch. I feel like we've been zigging and zagging. There's some teams we're completely off with. I know you don't like this division, Pritch, but I think here with this matchup, getting the hook in particular, Brady, I do kind of like the Panthers getting that 3.5, get back to what they do well, rushing the football, and more of an inspired effort here for the Panthers in this matchup.
We might have to fade your Falcons, Mike. We'll see. You might have them on a teaser. Maybe that'll work for you. We'll be back with some Survivor talk next on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Looking for your next ultimate golf experience? Discover Valley High Golf Club, a tropical paradise on the Las Vegas Strip, featuring lush greenery, water features, Balinese tropical plants, white sand, and black volcanic rock, creating an enchanting atmosphere. Valley High creates a memorable golf experience for a typical foursome, a group celebrating a bachelor or bachelorette party, or your next corporate outing. It's award-winning golf on the Strip, Vegas style. Book your ultimate golf experience now at valleyhighgolfclub.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circus Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Check us out online. Everything you need to know, where to find us, the podcast, YouTube, all of our selections, our sponsors. A very cool site, a one-stop shop at footballcontestshow.com, footballcontestshow.com. We shift over to Survivor talk, and yet again, another very difficult week. And I think a lot of this conversation is moot because no matter what Survivor contest you're playing in, I would guess 40% of the remaining entries were probably on the New England Patriots successfully on Thursday night. Now, after that, you've got the Texans. We talked about that dicey situation. You've got the Packers. We talked about that dicey situation. Again, road favorites in both cases there. We did not talk about another road favorite, the Baltimore Ravens, or another road favorite, the San Francisco 49ers. Mike, the Ravens and the Niners could be both very popular plays this week, and it's risky business. You'd like to have the Ravens left for Thanksgiving in the case of Circa Survivor, and the other, handicapping 101 Survivor no is playing road favorites, Mr. Pritchard.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Favorites, in general, 70%. Road favorites, 69%, really, straight up. So, I mean, Survivor is awesome. I love this contest. I know James doesn't, but I love it from just the fact that the competitiveness of it and the strategy that's involved. I mean, it's the closest thing that can relate to my playing days in terms of the feeling that you get from this contest. It's fascinating because there's so much out there. There's so much information I have that for our show here, I'm gonna give some of it out. The Ravens are interesting because I did read something to where they are preparing for Shedeur Sanders to play. Now, this is interesting because I've talked to a number of people all year long. Like, what are they going to do with Shedeur? And there's a lot of noise out there, right? Dylan Gabriel can't play, and he's 5'10", and there's no belief at all that they're going to win a game with Dylan Gabriel. Deshaun Watson's not going to be back with that team. Flacco's gone. I mean, they held on to Shedeur Sanders for a reason, and the reason is that they wanted to groom him. And nobody's really talked about that. Nobody's really talked about the fact that they want to bring him along slowly because they feel like they have something. And that's from inside the building and not the radio show or media or anything like that. These are people that are, Stefanski-esque and, people like that. So I wouldn't be shocked if Shedeur Sanders makes an appearance in this game from a juice standpoint, from a playmaking ability standpoint to uplift the team. His teammates want him to play. So that's why this one gets dicey for me, from a Survivor standpoint, because you got a Ravens team that's old. You got a quarterback in Lamar Jackson that's got a hamstring situation and a knee. And I think Bateman's out. And then, you got the Ravens that are just a team that I have not been high on. They played well enough to win that game last week. But that defense with Shedeur, if he does make an appearance, now you're going to be looking at your Survivor ticket and sweating a little bit. Now, it could go completely the other way, right? Shedeur could stink up the joint. And it's never a sweat. But from a Survivor standpoint, you're so close. That's where it gets really interesting. If you didn't play the Patriots, the 49ers, yeah, absolutely. Brock Purdy coming back. That's going to energize that team. I know Mac Jones has played well, but Purdy's their quarterback, right? I mean, it's like when you have your guy. I remember those days, James, when you had Elway and you had the backup quarterback that was popular, but then, when Elway came back, okay, we got John Elway back. So I'm trying to remember, Bubby Brister, that was his name. Remember that?
Yeah.
That guy. Yep. So they love Bubby, but yet it was John, right? And John comes back and certainly things feel right again. So I think for the 49ers, if you're looking for a Survivor situation, if you haven't used them with Brock Purdy back, it's like everything's going to feel right again. With that football team and that offense.
I would feel more comfortable with San Francisco in Survivor than I would with the Ravens. Not so much because Shedeur might play. Actually, that gives me more confidence to say that's the side, is the Ravens side. Thinking about where the Ravens are with Cleveland. Well, where was Cleveland? This is another lost season for the Cleveland Browns. And in particular, it's just been just a mess at quarterback. But also, if whoever's throwing, Dylan Gabriel throws nothing but but changeups out there, and it's a nosedive. His ball comes out of his hand weird. Sometimes those lefties do it. It's just a nosedive. So many throws at the feet. Well, in this matchup, more so in this game at Cleveland, it is going to be Cleveland weather in particular for not so much the rain. There's a chance of rain, but it's going to be very windy there. It's going to be 25 to 30 mile an hour winds consistently through that game. So you're going to need to have some kind of running game. That's where obviously it favors the Ravens with not only Lamar, but obviously with Derrick Henry pounding the football. But back to the 49ers here, Brady. I think this is a team that is still hanging around with all the injuries that they've had. It's the culture's there. The coaching is there. They're going to give good effort and good structure and good game plans on both sides of the football. And then you have McCaffrey, and that's the player here versus a team here on the other side with the Cardinals banged up all over the place. Jacoby Brissett is a statue back there. I think they get to him. If I'm playing Survivor, I'd feel more comfortable with the Niners from a spread standpoint and a contest standpoint. I like the Niners here too, just laying the 3, but in Survivor, that'd be my recommendation for us is we're in it. I like San Francisco on the road and win that divisional matchup against the Cards.
Let's take a look at another road favorite, and that is the Los Angeles Chargers. Off of a win on Sunday night over the Pittsburgh Steelers last week, they will travel to Jacksonville, and they've had struggles in this part of the country. I was really dying to bet Jacksonville here. I was like, okay, the Chargers, this offensive line issue is going to catch up to them. Jacksonville looked awful last week. The stock is low, the stock is high, a nice situation here. I thought the line had come out 6 or 7 in favor of Los Angeles. It's 3, and the Jacksonville Jaguars have still taken some money. It's down to 2.5. I understand the situation, but this line feels funky, James. I mean, I agree that this offensive line issue for the Chargers is going to catch up with them, and maybe it's this week. But if I only have to lay 2.5 or 3 points, that is going to, I believe, tempt some people to land on Los Angeles here this week.
That's the defense that has to win these football games for the Chargers. They're decimated at running back. You talked about the offensive line and Herbert. We saw he got sacked 5 times. He took a lot of hits. He has been the most hit quarterback in this league this far. 134 hits as the quarterback, leads the league in hits. He's been sacked 33 times. He was arguing with officials about some of the hits he was taking last week. I think that continues here. This is just the offensive line issues. Yes, Pittsburgh was old and slow up front. They still got to him. It was the offense that couldn't score, Pritch. But in this matchup here, this is a young defensive front for the Jaguars, and maybe this is a better spot for the Jags when everybody's written them off and they're playing that underdog role again. Maybe this is the spot to be able to take that contrarian dog with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that and you look at the bulk of the league. I mean, a lot of teams are evenly matched in terms of who they are and their identity as well, too. But, injuries have decimated some situations, and I think teams have found a way to take advantage of it. A panicky Trevor Lawrence on the road, you don't like that. A panicky Trevor Lawrence at home, he finds a way to make plays, right? And that's something that I can get behind here in this matchup.
Well, the late slate in Week 11 is a dandy, and when we come back, we'll hit on maybe the marquee game of the week, certainly one of them, and that is the Seattle Seahawks visiting the Los Angeles Rams when we return right here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Steiner's, a Nevada-style pub, invites you to play the best keno and video poker in Las Vegas. Promos are how we roll, so make the most of your gaming dollars with ongoing promotions, daily free play, bonuses, and more. With a chance to win Knights, Raiders, Aviators tickets, and big money with all those jackpots. It's not only great gaming at Steiner's, it's the 24 awesome rotating draft beers and the best appetizers to match. Steiner's, the Nevada-style pub, with 3 locations across the Vegas Valley. Steiner's, I love this place.
San Diego is home to Wolfpack Hospitality Restaurants, located in beautiful La Jolla. Stop by Cove House, Shore Rider, and Dough Mama Pizzeria on your next trip. Visit Cove House, a top 100 brunch in California, or Shore Rider, serving up margaritas, fish tacos, and a vibe that will make you feel like a regular in no time. For a slice of New York-style pizza with a California twist, it's Dough Mama Pizzeria, where the wings and pizza draw compliments from around the world. Go to wolfpackhospitality.com, and we will look forward to seeing you at Cove House, Shore Rider, and Dough Mama Pizzeria.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody, to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Week 11 in the NFL here, and we're going through the card along with myself It is James Salinas and Mike Pritchard. And Pritch, of course, you are a former Seattle Seahawk, and they will be traveling to Los Angeles. The first meeting between these two division foes in the NFC West. And boy, some people argue these might be the best two teams in the NFL. This looks like a very good ball game here. I made the Rams a 2-point favorite. And then when I crunch all my numbers, I come out to the Rams as a 1-point favorite. But they are a very strong 3-point favorite. And it looks like, who knows, maybe they'll even get to 3.5. It looks like a lot of activity and support for the Los Angeles Rams here this week, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to break this one down. I mean, the Rams ATS they're phenomenal, right? And as a favorite, they've been covering. So really one of those teams that are seemingly going to be on track to get through the playoffs and certainly get to that NFC Championship game. Along the way, though, they need these games. I mean, last week they took care of business against 49ers. I thought that was a game that they needed to have, and they showed up like they needed to have that game too, and they played that game like they needed to have it. So McVay has really communicated their situation to the players, and the fellas understand it. And here you got another matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. And the Seattle Seahawks really, from what McDonald has done and what they've turned into, has caught a lot of people by surprise. You know, you get rid of Geno, you get rid of DK Metcalf, you get rid of Lockett, and you're thinking, okay, Donald's going to come in. Who's he going to throw to? Well, Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. I mean, that's who he's going to throw to. I mean, his effect on this team, like a Jamar Chase or any receiver really that has really settled a quarterback in, along with the fact that you can run the football, has been a nice recipe. But defensively, the Seattle Seahawks held it together as they got healthy, as they're getting healthy. And I love the mix on the team, the complementary nature in vital situations, high chance situations. You know, they're almost 70% scoring the ball, scoring touchdowns as an offense in the red zone. And they're in the top 10 preventing touchdowns, certainly as a defense. But you got the Rams that are number one, and the Rams are, from a critical situation, well coached. So this to me is a marquee matchup and a game that I'm just going to be fun to watch. From a contest standpoint, guys, I don't know where the public's going to be or where the consensus is going to be, but you know, it's a field goal game, and from a handicapping standpoint, from my point of view, you got to lean with Matt Stafford in critical situations and a handful of plays. Right, this game's going to come down to a handful of plays, and Sam Darnold just doesn't have a handful. His hands are too damn small a lot of times. So from that, in that regard, and he proved that last year too as a Viking in big games. You know, I wonder if Sam Darnold can break that ceiling and get through. But from a betting standpoint, I mean, I got to lean with Stafford in that regard.
I'm right there with you, Pritch. I lean Rams here too. I don't know if I want this to go on our contest card, but this is going to be a prove it to me game for Darnold. Darnold's going to have to make throws on third down in that second half, and it's going to be a tight game. I trust Stafford to be able to make throws. I trust McVay to come up with the right scheme, and Puka and what we've seen. This is a Rams team that's really they've stayed away from the injury bug for the most part all season long. A couple of weeks with Puka Nacua being down, but aside from that, they've stayed very healthy. Seattle's had to weather the storm, especially in their secondary. Now they're healthy again. It's a young defense, though, so that's what I'm really interested to see for Seattle is how do they step up in a big game like this defensively. This is going to be it's a marquee game to your point, Pritch. I want to see them step up defensively and get off the field on third down, but I just have bigger concerns taking Seattle here and Sam Darnold having to make big throws to move the chains in the fourth quarter to sustain drives and score the ball. I need to see it first. I don't trust it, Brady. I like the Rams here better. Definitely. I don't know the contest, like I said, but I lean Rams here as far as the side goes.
Another beauty up in your neck of the woods, James, the Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Denver Broncos, and a lot on the line here in that AFC West division. The Broncos looking for revenge, had a field goal blocked at the end of that contest last year that gave the Chiefs yet another, escape out of nowhere with a victory, like the Kansas City Chiefs seem to always do. I feel this line's inflated a little bit. I made it 2.5. Everybody in the world knows about Andy Reid off of a bye and how successful he is in that situation. Can the Denver defense hold up? I don't know, James. And it seems like a lot of people are laying the wood with the Chiefs here. What do you think?
That's a tough number at 3.5. I think it's probably a couple couple pieces to it. I know defensive players being out don't move the needle as far as the line goes, but maybe it does with Patrick Surtain probably not going to play in this game again. He's been out for a few weeks with a pec injury. I don't suspect he's going to play, hasn't practiced this week. So that's a big loss. He's such a shutdown corner, top corner in the league. Also, the other side, in the middle of that defense, top tackler for the Denver Broncos, Alex Singleton, is out with an illness. So those are two big losses on the defensive side. And then the other side, and I think this is why the number is where it is because what have we seen out of the Denver offense just continue to regress? Pritch, it just keeps going backwards and backwards. There's been a lot of friction, I think, between Nix. It's since he's been a rookie there, and he and Peyton. I'm not sure where the play calling is. I know they're calling him Bo Picks, but I think some of that falls on Peyton's shoulders too, as far as the play calling goes. Pritch, what do you feel?
Yeah, it does. I mean, we know what Bo Nix is. I mean, he didn't flourish in college until he got to that scheme in Oregon, which was a lot of slip screens and work the perimeter, if you will, and let the speed of the wide receivers do a lot of the work. Right after the catch has really been something that's benefited Bo Nix. The narrative has been all year long, he can't throw the ball vertically down the field. So what do the Broncos want to do? They want to change that narrative if they can to elevate Bo Nix, but they're forgetting about winning the games and being complimentary to how great that defense is. That defense will slow down the Chiefs. I mean, they match up well with them even without Surtain. But yeah, on the other side, you wonder where Nix is. You wonder where the Broncos' offensive scheme is now. Not a bye week, but extra time because they played last Thursday night. So this is a great matchup, a divisional game. It's a field goal game to me either way. The Chiefs away from, we saw what happened in Buffalo, right? Away from Kansas City, they're a different team. So there is an opportunity for the Broncos in this one, but we got to rely on Bo Nix to drive that one home.
Sunday night is an incredible contest in Philadelphia. We saw them last week take care of the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. Now they return home and face the Detroit Lions. We'll touch on that one and the Monday Nighter and release our picks when we return right here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
When the football contest crew isn't busy dominating the field and making plays that leave opponents in the dust, they're doing something just as exciting. They're playing My Vegas Slots. It's a top-ranked, free-to-play mobile app that lets you earn valuable real-world rewards from amazing partners like MGM Grand, Bellagio, and Norwegian Cruise Line. You can score hotel stays, great meals, show tickets, and more just for playing. Download My Vegas Slots today from your favorite app store. And if you're anything like Brady, James, and Mike, we know you're going to love it. That's a winning play you won't want to miss.
Welcome back to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. It is time to release our card for Week 11 in the NFL, both the Super Contest and the Circus Sports Million. We do reserve the right to change. The deadline is not until Saturday afternoon, but here's what we've landed on as of this moment. The Bills, the Buffalo Bills laying 5.5 at home. The Bengals catching 5.5 on the road at Pittsburgh. The Titans at home as 6.5-point underdogs. The Panthers on the road at Atlanta getting 3.5 points. And finally, the Jacksonville Jaguars getting 2.5 in the Super Contest and getting the full 3 points in the Circus Sports Million. James, the game we have not touched on yet, two games we have yet to get to, the Monday Nighter and then the Sunday Nighter. A beauty with the Eagles and the Detroit Lions. Could be possibly a preview of the NFC Championship. It looks like the majority is on the dog here with the Detroit Lions. And you know what? I can't blame them. I like this team.
Yeah, I do too. I like the fight and the fire out of them. And I wasn't sure coming into the season where they were going to be with the loss of both their defense and offensive coordinator, especially on the offensive side with offensive coordinator. But we've seen Dan Campbell now has taken over the play calling duties, obviously with a decimated Washington team last week that they beat on Sunday night. From start to finish, wire to wire, far better team with the Detroit Lions in that matchup. Now you're going to play a Philadelphia team. They're finding some edge rushers now and being able to get after it with Smith being back in the fold for the Philadelphia Eagle defense. But the issues, Pritch, are the offense for the Philadelphia Eagles. The identity, this is a team that runs the football. A.J. Brown spends more time on social media than he does with getting in the film room and getting into the matchups for the week. I'm not sure where this offense is right now for Philly, Pritch, but there's an identity crisis. It feels like it's all season long, but they continue to find ways to win football games.
Yeah. I mean, I think Fangio has done a great job with that defense. He continues to But offensively is where the Eagles need to be successful. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Jalen Hurts is trying to turn into a pocket passer. It's not really about him running the football anymore, right? I mean, they do the tush push, and in the red zone, he's highly effective. But between the 20s, this guy has evolved into a pocket passer now, or he's trying to. And that's interesting. I think that's why you've seen the Eagles kind of struggle at times. But when they can run the ball with Saquon, I mean, this team is as good as anybody. And I wonder about the Lions. An emotional game last week and the fallout from that game too, because that was a revenge spot, right? Dan Campbell, I'm going to take over plays, and it's a revenge spot because of what Washington did to us. Now you got to go up against this animal on the road again. So the Eagles to me are just one of those teams that have tinkered a little bit, and they're still good. 7-2 straight up. The ATS is even impressive, right? That's good, like you see right here. So, I mean, this is a field goal game again, and at home, I mean, how do you not lean towards the Eagles in this one? So I like the Eagles in this matchup.
Yeah, I think you can go back and forth on this one for a long time. I may just be watching this one and not betting on this game. It looks like a real good one. Could be a good one here in Las Vegas on Monday night. The Dallas Cowboys, off of a bye, really struggled going into the bye with a loss to the Arizona Cardinals. The Raiders have been an absolute struggle all season long. Can they get it right here this week at home, Pritch?
I don't think so. There's so much going on underneath the surface with the Raiders. The buy-in for Pete Carroll just hasn't been there. And he's that type of coach that needs that because of the way that they work and the way that he demands certain things. And I think Geno is on his own page, which is never good. I thought the Raiders were all on the same page, but they're not. And then the Cowboys, this is a team that's explosive offensively. They made a trade that's supposed to help out their defense and solidify stopping a run and maybe, Overshown coming back from an edge standpoint. I mean, Overshown, if healthy, he can run with Brock Bowers. That's a good matchup from a linebacker standpoint to what they have for the Raiders offensively. So I just know when you're a powerful offense and you play against a defense that you can rack up points and yards against, you're going to feel pretty good about that. And I think the Cowboys are going to come into Vegas feeling pretty good about their chances of getting a victory.
Yeah, I can't necessarily disagree with you, Pritch. It is interesting, the difference in the point spreads here in each contest. It is 3 points in favor of the Cowboys in the Super Contest, 3.5 in Circa. And that line has really been bouncing back and forth all week long between 3 and 3.5. Again, our card, the Bills -5.5, the Bengals +5.5, the Titans +6.5, the Panthers +3.5, and the Jaguars +2.5 in the Super Contest, +3 in Circa Sports Million. That is going to do it for our show here, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Have a great Week 11, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Don't you just love football? God, what a fun sport.
Subscribe today on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts to receive weekly alerts as soon as the show's available. Good luck with your contest selections.
Pay that man his money.
And we'll talk to you next week.